can you turn the music off? Thank you. Alright, so, welcome everybody. So tonight is by far one of my favorite topics to talk about because it's part of the reason you're all here. So all of us have within us an inborn ability to be healthy. Our body knows how to heal and how to survive and thrive. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So on a recent training call, it's actually one we do every third Tuesday, we do something called our team-driven practice call. So the whole team comes together, I buy everybody lunch, and we train with other chiropractic teams from across the globe. So one of the statements that was said today, come on back, that hit me really hard, I guess, is either it is 100% true or it's 100% false. So think about that for a second and keep that on your mind why we talk about everything we're going to talk about tonight. Because something can't be 98% true. If it's 98% true, it's completely false. So when we talk about innate intelligence, so what is it? So the term innate intelligence actually originated with the founder of chiropractic, who is D.D. Palmer. If you're taking your first or third quiz for your re-exams, that answer's on there now, so if you get it wrong. So innate intelligence or inborn intelligence is present in all living things, and it's responsible for the organization, maintenance, and healing of our body. So to put that a different way, if you get a cut on your finger, does the Band-Aid heal your cut? No, we all know that. We know the Band-Aid helps keep it clean, but our body's actually the thing that fixes the cut and gets us healthy again. So all healthcare providers know and recognize the body's inborn ability to manage itself. So this is where it becomes really important of either it's 100% true or it's 100% false. So if all healthcare providers really understand that our body is designed to fix and heal itself, and we call our healthcare system a healthcare system, when do you go to your medical doctor?
When you're sick.
When you're sick. So if the only time we go is when we're sick, then are we really even acknowledging the fact that our body has the ability to fix and heal itself? Because what do you get when you go to the medical doctor when you're sick?
Medicine.
You get something from the outside to try to change what's happening. So when I heard that, I wrote something down and I figured I'll just read it out loud. So, can we all agree that it's 100% true that we're made in God's image and are designed to thrive and live at 100%? Can we all agree on that? Awesome. So could we also agree that it's 100% false that we are made weak and in need of some form of medication or potion or pill or whatever to regain health? Because if we're made in God's image, and that's 100% true, how can it also be true that the only way we can be healthy is with an outside medication? It just simply doesn't add up and make sense. Now, saying that, there's a time and place for everything. I have a lot of medical doctors in my family. They probably don't still like my Facebook page because I say things like this very often. But they're all really good people, and they're all out to help people be healthy. But if the only tool you have is to trick the body into thinking it's working the way it's supposed to be, are we really acknowledging our God-given design and potential? The answer is no. And the only reason I'm here is because when I was a couple months old, a medical doctor gave me a medication to help me survive pneumonia. So there's a time and place. I'm not saying that all medicine is bad and all medical doctors are bad. There's a time and place. But when we rely on that to be the source of our health, there's a reason why America spends the most on health care, has the least health benefits. The number one reason of it's right out of my head, come on. The number one reason of bankruptcy in America is healthcare. The number one cause of death is healthcare. It's crazy. It's actually medical mistakes is the number one cause of death in the world because the paradigm of us being not designed in God's image, that we're weak, that we need something else is broken. There's no way we can ever experience the health that we're supposed to have and the life we're supposed to have unless we think back and go back to it's either 100% true or it's 100% false. So if you believe it's 100% true that you're made in God's image and that we're made and designed to thrive through life and be healthy, then we can't rely on our sick care system to get us there in the first place. And I realize I'm speaking to the choir. It's the reason a lot of you are here in the first place, because you realize that that wasn't working and you needed something else. And that something else is us respecting your body's ability to do exactly what it's designed to and work at its best. So jumping in, there's the true meaning of life. So every living thing is made up of 3 vital parts. Can anyone guess what the matter is of our self? So matter, it's the skin, it's the bones, it's all the stuff. So the force is what is keeping our body alive. The intelligence is what controls the matter and the force and allows it to work the way it's supposed to. So sometimes around May the 4th, we have a little fun with this class and use the dark side and the light side. And since Star Wars just came out, I'll go there. But everything has to work together. If you have a blockage in the intelligence to express your body's ability to function, to help that cut heal in the first place, it's never going to heal. So if you take the greatest plastic surgeon in the world, he has 2 patients. One heals amazingly. They have no scars. They never knew they had the surgery in the first place. The other one doesn't heal at all. What's the difference? One of them's not alive. So if you don't, you can have the matter, it can all be there, but if you don't have the intelligence to do that life force to be there in the first place, then it doesn't matter the skill you use, you can't be as healthy as you're supposed to be. So when it comes to forces, there are universal forces, which are destructive forces, and I realize, yes, this isn't my picture, that's okay. My version's not that pretty. Dr. Ash and I did get to go there 2 years ago, and the water was brown, so I decided to use a better one. But this is a universal force. Is that not amazing and beautiful? And it's also a destructive force. The only reason that exists is over many, many years, that water made that path and cut that out of the canyon, so we have that beautiful picture, but it was still destructive in the function of it at the same time. But then we have our innate intelligence, or our constructive forces, things that build. So how cool is that? That tree is still alive, there's virtually no soil holding it in place, but it has the innate intelligence to know what it needs to do to still thrive in an environment that's not ideal. So that's the opportunity we have for all of our health. Even if we're not currently in the most ideal health environment, we have an opportunity to thrive if we give our bodies what it needs and we respect our innate design in the first place. So we get to talk about some chiropractic principles. I understand they're probably way more exciting for me. But when it comes to being 100% true or 100% false, there are 33 principles related to chiropractic. It's the foundation of the system that I base everything that I make my decisions in. And every single one of them is 100% true. They are laws of nature, they're laws of the universe, and they also happen to work with the way our bodies work. So principle number 27 of that is innate intelligence is always normal and will always do what is normal. So if that means that vomiting is normal or a fever is normal, can that be healthy for you? So has anyone ever had food poisoning? Did you get rid of it before it got too far down? You know both versions of that, right? So if your body was working the way, if it identified it early enough, we're going to have that vomiting. We're going to get rid of it and not be suffering for days. If it doesn't identify it fast enough and it makes it further into our system, that food poisoning is absolutely going to result in a fever, among other challenges that none of us ever want but have to experience sometimes in life. So your body will always do what's right. Principle number 6 is my favorite. It's that everything in life takes time, and healing is no exception. So if your problem started, or the symptom of the problem started yesterday, but the problem really started 20 or 30 years ago, it may take some time to fix it. It's not going to happen overnight. And it didn't take overnight for it to happen in the first place. So how many people in the room have arthritis, know someone with arthritis, that suffer from that problem? So we're told, right? So we're told by our major medical community that arthritis is normal. It's part of aging. And just because you're a certain age, it's going to happen. You just have to live with it. Think back. If it's 100% true that we're made in God's image and that we're designed to thrive and survive through life, do you think we're designed to have arthritis and our bodies fall apart? No. Arthritis happens because whatever that joint is hasn't worked properly for a minimum of 20 to 30 years before the first ache or pain shows up in the first place. So if we have that arthritis and you're showing up with that ache or pain, don't be discouraged because you might be a year or two into care and still have some of the aches and pains, because you've been there for maybe 1/10 of the time it took for the problem to be there in the first place. And that can be true for anything that we do in life at all. Every single thing takes time, whether it's related to our health or related to anything else that we choose. So we know all we need to know already. Our bodies have all the information they need to be healthy. So does anyone know how, well, hopefully we all know how life is made. We start from 1 cell, we become 2 cells to 4 to 8 to 16, so the math gets really big. So how do you think that happens? And almost every single person that's born shows up with 10 fingers and 10 toes that are relatively the same length as the ones on the opposite side. We all have arms and legs and hearts and livers, and how does that happen? because all that information is there from the very beginning. The difference is if we allow that information to continue to process through the entire life and communicate within our bodies. So we're not just simply built to survive, we're built to thrive. That's right back to that initial thought that we started with. So if we're going through life and we say things like, well, you know, I wish I felt like I did when I was in my 30s or 40s or 50s or whatever decade is the decade preceding the one you're in right now, that means we're not thriving, we're simply surviving. It means that no one told us the thing to do to help our bodies live the way they're supposed to. We're actually genetically determined to live around 125 to 150 years, but most of us don't make it. So someone asked me, I think it was last week's class or the class the week before, of, well, who do you know that's ever lived to 150 years old? And I just kind of asked them if they ever read the Bible, right? So back when we worked harder, we were more physically active, we ate what's really organic food, not the pesticide crap that we get now, we actually lived a lot longer than we do now before we had all these medications and all these other things to try to cover the symptom to help us feel better. Is it more important to feel better, or is it more important to be healthy? Right. That's something you have to answer for yourselves, but hopefully it's more important to be healthy and not just feel better. Personally, I would rather be healthy with a symptom than be unhealthy and feel perfectly fine. So we had this conversation just a couple minutes ago at the front desk of someone said, well, I'm well today, and I try to make sure I say well, but I'm well today, and since I feel good, I must be healthy, right? So what percentage of your nerves perceive pain? It's 10%. So if we're basing our health on how we feel, and this is an incredibly intelligent individual, he's into a lot of the research on how to be healthy, but that's what we're taught in our countries. If we feel healthy, we must be. So I asked him, I said, have you ever known anyone who dropped dead of a heart attack that felt perfectly fine? The answer is yes. That means something wasn't working right, even though we felt great in the first place. So remember, we're not here to just survive through life, we're here to thrive through life. The only way you can do that is if you respect that innate design, allow your innate intelligence to work the way it's supposed to and be expressed through your body. So how can we tap into our innate? Because it's already in our bodies, it's already alive in every single one of us and every living thing, but how do we get to it in the first place? Hey, most of you are already doing that. So the number one way our innate intelligence gets blocked is if you block the communication system of our body in the first place. So every single what we call in chiropractic a subluxation, which a subluxation happens when one of these awesome bones of our spine that protect our spinal cord and protect our spinal nerves simply shifts slightly out of place. There is a perfect space for the nerves to come out at every single level. If that joint literally moves a few centimeters or millimeters in the wrong direction and gets stuck there, it's shutting down and turning off your nerve's ability and your body's ability to express your innate intelligence. That's turned off at 60% if there's the weight of a single dime on that nerve. So we all know what a dime feels like. It's pretty light. Most of us wouldn't even know if we had one in our pocket. That's all it takes to cut that nerve function down by 60%. How likely do you think it is a symptom is going to show up the same day that happens? It's not. So by the time the problem shows up, there's probably arthritis, there's probably degeneration, there's probably breakdown because that problem has most likely been there for a few decades before it shows up. So if we know that every single subluxation puts pressure on those nerves and cuts our nervous system function by 60%, and every single health professional on the planet that's worth their own grit knows that the brain controls our body, I mean most of us should know that, so why wouldn't everyone think to go, well, let's look at the communication system to see if it's even talking to itself before we say, oh, you have heartburn, here's an antacid. Oh, you have high blood pressure, here's a high blood pressure medication. It doesn't add up if you know and respect the way the body works to just simply cover up the system or the symptom. It's literally asking your body to fail, maybe not today or tomorrow, but to ultimately fail because you're going, oh, I have this problem that's, if we use this one up here for an example, that's cutting off the nerve at the first and second thoracic vertebrae, the same one that goes to our heart, but I feel great. Your heart doesn't work right for decades. It's probably going to fail on you. I don't want to see that for anybody. So we know that if you simply remove that subluxation, your body instantly works at 100% exactly the way it was designed to, and you can actually start thriving again. Regardless of if the problem really just showed up because you were recently in a car accident or something that happened years and years and years ago, the second you take the pressure off of that nerve, your body starts to work better. The challenge is your body is very used to patterns. So it's used to that bone being out of place and those muscles being in the position they're in. So it tends to shift right back out. The research shows that in the beginning it shifts back out in under 24 hours. And ultimately, once you've achieved past getting through most of the major problems, that if you don't get your spine checked a minimum of every 5 to 7 days, that arthritis degenerative process starts to set back in again. So then we get to take a look at this chart. The one next to me is better, so we're going to use that one. But literally, we've talked about every single nerve that comes out of your spine goes to every single, not every single nerve, but the nerves of your spine go to everything in your body. We have somewhere between 75 and 100 trillion cells. Their health and responsibility is completely based on that communication. So any subluxation, whether it's something in the middle of the low back that happens to be the one that goes to your bladder, for example, or the one in the middle of your middle back that happens to be that stomach nerve, if you cut 60% of that communication, the system's not going to work the way it should. So that's why I've chosen to be a chiropractor in life, and why I hope that I inspire people to make the healthier lifestyle choices, not simply cover up the symptom and block your body's innate intelligence, but utilize its ability to function exactly the way we were designed to in the first place. So miracles happen every day, and I didn't know you were coming to class when I saw your bracelet. That was awesome. But they only happen if we expect to see them. If we believe in miracles, miracles can happen. But if we don't believe in miracles, we're never going to see it. And a miracle can be something small, and I'm not saying it's small because of the one I'm going to describe, because it was huge to this person. This person's been coming in and seeing us for months. He went to a different doctor who said, well, you need this, this, and this. And he hadn't been on a cane or crutches since he started with us. And he came in that day barely able to move and walk. So I said, okay, well, what's going on? He said, well, the doctor said I needed this and that I would hurt. And I said, okay, well, let me know what this doctor's doing. I want to know what they're doing before I make any judgment. So I sat and I listened and I did the adjustment that his body told me it needed. You can think I'm crazy if you want to, but if I pay attention and I listen when I'm adjusting you, there's a reason I'm quiet. I'm listening to what your body actually needs and what it's telling me it needs. He walked out with his cane over his shoulder and he said, I've made my decision. I'm never going back there again. He couldn't walk for 3 days. That's nothing that I did. I simply listened to what his body needed and what his innate intelligence needed for his body to work 100% at its best the way it's designed to in the first place. So what's possible if you believe to see miracles? It means anything is possible. Any health challenge you have can get better. Nothing about our current situation or our past defines our future if you choose to do something different today. So Wayne Dyer, pretty smart person, says, I'm realistic, I believe in miracles. So who in the room believes in miracles? Hopefully everybody. If you don't, that's okay. Just keep coming to class, hopefully I'll inspire that in you. And if I can't, Dr. Ashley's great at that too, and she's back in teaching classes again. So you are actually the miracle because you all woke up today. Not everyone got the opportunity to wake up today. Not everyone had the opportunity to have a warm place to wake up, or to have food to eat, or clean air to breathe, or fresh water, whatever it happens to be. There are so many things to be grateful for in every one of our lives simply because we're here, that every single day you wake up in and of itself is a miracle, because we're not guaranteed to have that every day. So people are told they're going to die in 2 months from cancer, and 3 years later they're thriving. How can that possibly happen? Back to that innate intelligence. If it's 100% true that our bodies are made in God's image and designed to thrive in the first place, then anything is possible. We have patients in our office that is their story. They were told by their doctor that they have months to live, and years later they're doing awesome. One of the first patients I ever had in chiropractic school, he was 15 years post a month-long diagnosis of you're going to be dead in a month. He said, I don't accept that. I believe there's greater things for my own life. So they said, well, you need to do this drug and this drug and this and all these things. And he said, I'm not doing any of that. Because if I do all that, you're telling me I'm going to be dead in a month. He cleaned up his diet, he started exercising, he started getting adjusted, and I don't know if he's still around because he was in his 80s at the time, he might be. But instead of having that diagnosis of being done, he was a miracle every single day, and he's one of the first person that said that to me, of, you know what, every day I get is a miracle, because I was supposed to be dead 14 and a half years ago. So we have to be grateful for what we have. So you have to unleash your amazing ability to heal. So I love this. This is a picture of a sun, but that's literally what's inside all of us. Our innate intelligence, our God-given potential is burning bright inside of us, but we can only get to it if we choose to do the things to unlock it in the first place. And that doesn't necessarily mean that chiropractic is the be-all, end-all. If you're getting adjusted and you're eating crap, your body still isn't going to be where it's supposed to be. If you're eating great and exercising and never getting adjusted, and never getting your spine checked, you might be that super healthy guy who drops dead of a heart attack. Whatever it happens to be. So you have to choose to make the right decisions. The reason I do these classes, the reason why education is the most important thing we do in this office, not the adjustment, you learning to be healthier is the most important, is because the miracle of what the potential is for your own life is only possible if you choose to make the decisions that remove the interference, whether it's on a nerve or it's somewhere else in your life, and let your body be the amazing and vibrant health that it was designed to be and that we're all destined to have. So most of you, as you came in today, you got, or so far this week, you got a little Christmas gift from us for your Christmas tree. It's a starfish. Have you read who's read the story of the starfish? So how cool is that? So the short version of the story of the starfish is basically that there's, and I get mixed up whether it was the little boy or the old man throwing the starfish back, but I think it was the old man. But anyway, this little boy's walking down the ocean and he sees thousands and thousands of starfish out on the beach. And then he sees this man stooped over throwing one starfish back at a time. And he gets to him and he said, "Old man, what are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm throwing the starfish back." He goes, "Well, you can't possibly make a difference. There's thousands of them, the sun is coming up, they're all going to die." And the old man sat and he was quiet for a moment. And then he picked another one up and threw it back in the ocean. He said, "I made a difference for that one." So who is the one person in your life that needs to know this stuff? That needs to know that they can be healthier than they are right now, that their current health and their current situation doesn't define what the rest of their life is going to be. So think about that, share something with them, help them come make the decision to simply get checked, to see if there's a blockage in that, or if there's interference in the system. We give that away all day, every day. Because my purpose is to inspire greater abundance in all areas of everyone's health and life. So just simply invite them to come along and learn something, because if they choose to take the step to learn, they may choose to take the next step to do the next right thing and to realize that they are designed to be 100% healthy and 100% thrive for all their life. So thank you. Have an awesome night. We have another class next week. It's on the board. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. And great guests.
So once you get through whatever is your specific treatment,
Absolutely.
okay. What is your recommendation as far as from what I see, for the rest of my life, I'm potentially going to be doing this? You know, and is that kind of the thought? You know,
That's my thought before.
Chiropractor, you just kind of.
It's different for every chiropractor and every person. It depends on what their own personal philosophy is. But my personal thought before I walk in with every single person their first day here is that I'm going to help this person be healthy for the rest of their life. So what that looks like in this office is that they will get checked, and you will have your spine checked every single week for the rest of your life, regardless of how you feel, because that's what I'm going to do for myself and my own family. So why would I do anything different for anybody else?
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah,
because
great question.
Yeah, I like to say I feel great already, but I'm not necessarily.